This message is not for everyone, but you will know if it's for you. You know that deep, aching pain of never quite fitting in, feeling like an outsider even in your own family or in groups where you should feel like you belong? That constant sense that you're just a little bit different, that you don't speak the same language as everyone else. And if you've experienced narcissistic abuse, this feeling is magnified 1,000 times. The gaslighting that makes you question your own reality, the silent treatment that isolates you, or the constant criticism that makes you feel like you're the problem. You've probably spent years thinking something is fundamentally wrong with you. But what if I told you that's not the truth? What if your inability to fit in isn't about being broken, but about being rare? About being intentionally designed by God to operate on a completely different frequency. And this isn't a flaw in your design. It's the very evidence that you've been set apart for a holy purpose. And that purpose is exactly why you've become a target in a spiritual battle you may not have even known you were in. So let's talk about this idea of spiritual frequencies. And pay close attention because this is golden. Imagine the world operates on one radio station. Let's call it the station of pride, control, ego, and superficial connection. It's what the Bible calls being of the world. This is the frequency that narcissists and toxic people are tuned into. It's all about their image, power, and using other people. But you were designed to operate on a different frequency, a heavenly one. It's a frequency of truth, authenticity, deep connection, and love. And it's not something you choose. It's how God wired you from the very beginning. And this mismatch explains everything. It's why you feel so drained and misunderstood in certain environments. It's not that you're too sensitive or weak. It's that your God-given sensitivity is a spiritual radar picking up on the dissonance around you. You're trying to connect on a channel of authenticity while they're broadcasting on a channel of manipulation. And they can sense your light, and it exposes their darkness, which is why they often react with such hostility. And I remember when this clicked for me. I was in a situation where I was being gaslit, and I just felt this profound spiritual exhaustion. It wasn't just emotional, it was like my spirit was being suffocated. And I realized I wasn't just dealing with a difficult person. I was experiencing a frequency crash. And this is exactly what Jesus was talking about in John 15:19. If you were of the world would love you as its own. But because you are not of the world, but I chose you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. And the pain of not fitting in isn't a sign of failure. It's evidence that you are vibrating at a different spiritual level. Why? Because you were chosen out by God. And the world's rejection is a confirmation of your divine selection. The enemy uses narcissistic abuse, such as the gaslighting, the criticism, to try and jam your signal, to make you doubt the frequency God has placed within you. But that very attack is proof that what you carry is real and it is powerful. And now I want you to reframe that feeling of isolation. What if it wasn't about being left out, but about being set apart? Throughout the Bible, we see this pattern over and over. God isolates the people He wants to use greatly. And I've mentioned this before, but it's so important, I'm going to mention it again. Moses was isolated in the desert for 40 years before leading Israel out of Egypt. David was isolated in the fields as a shepherd away from his own family before he became king. And even Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness before he began his public ministry. So isolation in God's hands is not punishment, it is preparation. Now look at the patterns of narcissistic abuse you've endured. The silent treatment, the exclusion, the feeling of being the black sheep or the scapegoat. From a spiritual perspective, what if that was actually God allowing a divine separation? The enemy's intention was to crush your spirit, to make you feel worthless, and eventually take you out. But God's intention was to use that very abuse to separate you from worldly systems and toxic patterns you were never meant to adapt to. So the abuse served to purify your calling. It burned away the desire to please people and forced you to seek your identity in something and someone deeper. And this protection is a profound act of love. Being set apart shielded you. It kept you from fully buying into the lies, from becoming like the very people who hurt you. And your spirit resisted the corruption because it was designed for holiness. This is your identity spelled out clearly in 1 Peter 2:9. But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession. Because you are special, you are set apart. Your uniqueness, the very thing that made you a target for abuse, is not a flaw. It's the central feature of God's divine design for you. You wasn't meant to blend in with the crowd because you were created to lead people out of darkness. The enemy tried to use your isolation to break you, but God used it to make you. He was building in you a resilience and a dependence on Him that a comfortable life never could. And that's where we get to the heart of the spiritual warfare. The enemy recognizes the light inside of you long before you might have even recognized it yourself. He sees the potential, the calling, the divine design, and what does he do? He comes after you full force. Narcissistic abuse isn't just a personality disorder. It's a weapon in this war, specifically designed to target the very gifts God placed within you. Think about the specific patterns. No matter if it's the gaslighting, it's a direct assault on your God-given discernment. The enemy's goal is to make you doubt the truth your spirit already knows. And the constant criticism and evaluation, that's meant to crush the confidence you need to step into your authority. And the scapegoat role you were forced into, that's the enemy's strategy for isolating the truth teller. He singles out the one person who can see through the facade and tries to destroy their credibility so the system of lies can remain intact. And your empathy and sensitivity, which are rare and beautiful gifts, also make you vulnerable in this battle. The enemy uses your own heart against you, making you feel responsible for the abuse, turning your compassion into a trap. And his entire strategy is to make you feel so broken, so defective because you don't fit in, that you never discover the power of why you were made to stand out. And here's the key you must hold on to. The intensity of the attack is directly proportional to the significance of your calling. You are not being targeted because you are worthless. You are being targeted because you are a tremendous threat to their kingdom of darkness. And the enemy doesn't waste time on trivial targets. The fact that you have been through this fire is evidence of your immense value in God's kingdom. And whether you see it or not, your rare design has a purpose. You might ask yourself, so what is all this for? Why were you designed this way? And Psalm 139:14 says, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And that word wonderfully means uniquely, distinctly set apart for a purpose. So those misfit qualities you've always seen as weaknesses are actually your spiritual gifts in their raw, unpolished form. Your sensitivity isn't a liability. It's a spiritual radar system finely tuned by your experiences to detect deception and just to feel the heart of God. And it's an amazing journey. So the very places where you have been broken by abuse are becoming your places of greatest authority. Your pain has given you a depth of understanding and a compassion that cannot be learned from a book. And you can minister to others from a place of genuine empathy because you have been there. You know what it's like to be gaslit. You can recognize it in others and leave them out. You know the pain of the silent treatment, so you can offer the gift of true presence. And the enemy meant all of it for your destruction, but God is weaving it into your divine resume, slowly but surely, whether you see it now or not. And you wasn't designed to fit in because you were designed to stand out, to be that light and to be a truth in a world that desperately needs it. And your rarity is your assignment. And so what do you do now with this truth? How do you start walking in it? The most practical first step is to begin practicing what I like to call selective silence. And rare and precious things need to be protected. You don't leave a valuable diamond sitting out in the open. You place it in a setting that showcases and protects it. And your spirit is that diamond. So selective silence means becoming fiercely discerning about who gets access to your inner world. It's not about being closed off. It's about being wise. Stop oversharing your heart with people who have proven they cannot handle it with care. And this looks like setting firm boundaries. It means limiting your exposure to toxic family members or friends who drain your spirit. It's giving yourself permission to end conversations that turn manipulative. It's guarding your heart, as Proverbs 4:23 says, because everything you do flows from it. Alongside this, you need to actively seek community. Your spirit needs to be around other people who are on the same frequency, who understand what it means to be set apart. And this is where your rarity will be valued and nurtured, not attacked. And finally, reset your frequency daily with identity. Declare 1 Peter 2:9 out loud. I am chosen, I am royal, I am holy, I am God's special possession. And this isn't just positive thinking, it's spiritual warfare. It recalibrates your spirit to the truth and drowns out the enemy's lies. So you have to learn to recognize the difference between when you're being targeted by the enemy to shut you down and when God is refining you through difficulty. One feels like condemnation and destruction. The other, though painful, comes with a sense of purpose and His presence. So your isolation becomes destructive when it leads to despair. It becomes healthy when it drives you deeper into your relationship with God, the one who designed your rare and beautiful spirit. So let's just take a moment and pray. I want to pray this over our hearts right now. Father, I come before you with my brothers and sisters who have carried this pain of never fitting in. I ask that you would heal that ache and replace it with the powerful truth that they are being set apart by you. Protect their rare, beautiful gifts. Give them the courage to walk in their true identity as your chosen ones. Help them to see their sensitivity as a gift and their story as a testimony. In Jesus' name, amen. So I want you to understand this. You are not broken. You are chosen. You are not a misfit. You are a masterpiece designed for a purpose. And I hope you got something from this video that you can apply to your own life today. And if you want to keep walking on this journey of healing and awakening with me, go ahead and subscribe and stick around. We're going to keep talking about what it means to be a chosen one, how to heal from narcissistic abuse, and how to walk in the authority God has for you. You are not alone in this, and as always, to God be the glory. I will see you in the next one.